Welcome back, ladies! I guess you weren't too put off by our first lesson last week, as you're back like a rash on a naughty man's Johnson. Anyway, I'm not going to waste time with my flowery introductions and jump straight into it, with a settings guide so saucy and supremely satisfying it'll put Hilda the German milkmaid to shame. But can you handle it?
I think I'm entitled.
You want
The settings!
You can't handle the
Settings. First up, open options and then head over to controls. Like in the throes of passion, you must know what you're doing, unless one gets too excited and splashes one's, lack of control all over his or her opponent's faces. Inside controls, we will start with basic. You can choose to use inverted look, but if you do, I will lose respect for you. Only devil worshippers and pig lovers invert what God gave them. I guess it's down to personal preference, but I flipped it once and was sick faster than when I downed 50 tequila shots in a shot showdown with Alejandro, the Mexican mudslinger from Tijuana. I beat him, but I felt like the underside of a nun's sandal for the better part of a week. Sensitivity is where so much of what you do lies. Tweak this setting gently, as it can have a profound way on how you play. I use 65% right now, which is much lower than I did on BF1, around 90%. I would always opt for a higher sensitivity, as the quicker that you can move your gun and its direction, the quicker you can react to threats. If you played BF1, drop in and copy your settings over, but drop that sensitivity by 10 to 20%, because this game is actually a little faster and it will feel rather different. You'll hear many players and creators warn of the pitfalls of changing your sensitivity a lot, so do stick with it for a while before you decide to change it, and only nudge the sensitivity up or down by 5 or 10%, and do it infrequently. You will never learn the muscle memory required if you keep changing it when it doesn't work. Stick with it, I promise you'll benefit from it. I would leave soldier zoom aim sensitivity as default, 100%. This means your aim down the sight and your hipfire sensitivity will feel exactly the same. If you are a COD lover... What's that, darling? No, not cot. No, I'm not talking about the male genital. No, not COD, darling. I said COD! If you play Call of Duty, maybe drop this by 50% or so, but I would strongly recommend you leave it as it is. Soldier sprint levers toggle, as there isn't a benefit to hold the button on a controller, ever when running. Leave double tap off, as double tapping sprint allows you to slide, and you don't want to mix the two up. Soldier weapon zoom and steady scope leave on hold. When it comes to vehicle sensitivity, I always drop the sensitivity a little bit. This makes, for me anyway, aiming at distant targets with a slower moving turret or machine gun much more manageable. The jerky motion of the tank's weapons can often leave you flitting back between targets because your aim is rather sensitive. I may have said that inverting your look for a soldier is tantamount to devil worship, but in a plane, swap that bad boy over right now. Nothing more to be said, just do it. Next up is the control schemes. I mentioned one handy tip in my last video, and that was to change the soldier buttons to alternate. This way your melee and your duck buttons are switched. Now when running, you can hit the dirt without taking your finger from the thumbstick. This saves time and allows you to keep moving while ducking, crouching, sliding and, well, fooling around in the hay with Farmer Sam's naughty little nymph-like daughter. Meow. It is a godsend, so don't even question it. Do it and thank me later. I would also change vehicle and pilot driver buttons to veteran. This allows R2 and L2 to act as accelerate and reverse respectively, and throttle up and down for planes. Fire moves to L1 and zoom is up on the D-pad. This will feel odd to most if you're not familiar with the setup, but again, it is a far superior setup for driving and flying. The rest you should leave on default as standard. Now take a few rounds, break in those new control layouts, and then rain fiery death upon those little weak mortals. Look at them run! Run, little piggies! Run! Next, let's move to advanced. Stick aiming acceleration. If you liked BF1 and never tinkered with the settings much, set this to 100, but if you preferred BF4, then move it to 0. I have this on 0 because I like the sticks to be incredibly responsive. When I turn left or right, I don't want any lag applied to those motions, so I would recommend you have this off. Now, if you want to improve your aim, turn Uniform Soldier on. This basically makes all sights and sensitivities feel exactly the same. This is a huge boon for practicing and locking down muscle memory and will guarantee to improve your aim. I would turn off vehicle aim relative controls. It's confusing and totally unnecessary. Also make sure to turn the next two settings on, as this will enable you to turn and aim the turret without it affecting your vehicle's direction. As we turn to Uniform Soldier aiming on, make sure all of the zoom sensitivity settings are set to 100%, and this way every scope and zoom level will act exactly the same. Now, in controller tuning, many people will say to turn off vibration. It's supposed to affect your aim and can give you an extra unneeded feedback when in a gunfight. The theory is there, so perhaps turn it off. I leave it on simply because I love a bit of shaky in the palm of my hand, not unlike the undulations of a lady's plump rump beneath my fingers when we dance oh so close, oh so fine. The dead zones of both sticks should be identical. You don't want to have them different, or all over the battlefield you will have a very bad time indeed. The center dead zone indicates how much you have to push a stick before a direction is received. Go too low and your aim will be wilder than Britney when the Prosecco begins to flow at the Christmas party. I'm serious, like Britney, it just won't be fun. In fact, it will be terrible. However, too high and it will feel laggy and unresponsive. Any number between 10 and 20% should be great, and I go for 13% because truthfully it's my lucky number. I'd leave the axial dead zone on 15% and max input on 100%. For the L2 and R2 max input threshold, I would suggest you play around with it, but lower is better as it will require less of a trigger pull to produce maximum input. For the L2 and R2 dead zones, I would go down to 0%. This is again personal preference, but I don't want even a fraction of a delay when aiming down sights or shooting. If you're a little heavy-handed on the controller, you may accidentally press triggers when not meaning to, so practice and find the right balance for you. Now let's move on to gameplay options. In the basic tab, you'll find a lot of options that affect what you see on screen. I won't go through each one and you can just copy my settings if you like, but we'll discuss a handful. Obviously, we want to show HUD elements as we aren't playing hardcore, but if you wanted the most immersive experience possible, you can switch this first tab off. Player created content such as emblems and tags, etc, I leave this on. The chat log I have only on when active, as you can see previous requests for orders or ammunition and health requests. Inventory is on only when active, as I don't need nor want to clutter the screen even further. I always have crosshair visibility at 100%, as doing anything than that is just a bit, well, stupid. Also choose a colour that will stand out against most natural colours in game. An orange or a pinky purple are colours often not seen on the battlefield and will stand out more when fighting. I have the kill log filter set to nearby, as I don't need to see who's doing what on the other side of the map, but may want to keep an eye out on what's going on around me, so if some friendlies drop, I'll know enemies are close. Now for hit indicators, this is rather important, and I would strongly, nay I demand, that you change them up and make them mean something to you. I have the main hit colour set as blue right now. This gives me an instant visual indication that I've hit an enemy. Headshots I've set as a nice pinky purple once again, but lots of people have this set to red, and the kill colour is set to a bright green. This way, when I see the hit markers turn to green, I know I have killed the enemy and I don't need to waste a second more firing on them, and can turn my attention to the next opponent. This is such incredibly valuable visual information on the screen, and it will help you to no end, bringing your speed and lethality to new heights of wonder. Not only that, but it looks so pretty, look! For the minimap. It's a personal preference once again, but the map is such an important feature in Battlefield, so do not neglect it. Here I would only suggest setting show stationary weapons to all. For icon opacity, again the information the icons on screen provide is very important, but you don't want it getting in the way of fighting, so I'd recommend dropping them down a little bit further. Right now mine are on 90% for default icon opacity, but I may drop these further with more playtesting. For aim down sight opacity, I would strongly recommend you copy my settings, and again perhaps tinker with them slightly, maybe dropping them down a little further once again. For the Advanced tab, make sure Soldier auto-leaning and peeking are turned on. This will allow you to lean around corners or peek over objects by simply aiming down sights when close to a corner or barrier. I turn off Parachute auto-deploy, as I like to live dangerously and pull out right at the last second. Context-based order giving is always on for me. If you're the squad leader, this allows you to simply look at an objective and select it instead of bringing up the common rows. It's handy, and we all like handies. Plane chase camera roll. Well, you could do with this as you please. I don't really use it. But now the nitty and gritty. Aim assist. If you're a new player to FPS or not that confident, leave aim assist auto rotation on. This will enable you to snap to a nearby enemy when aiming down sights. It may seem like a tempting option, but it can be incredibly detrimental. If you're shooting at one target and another steps into view as you aim down sight, you're likely to snap onto him, not killing the original target or the new one before they kill you. It's far better to have control over what you're shooting in tense moments, and as such I would use aim assist slowdown only. This just means that when you're aiming your reticule over an enemy target, the aim slows slightly, allowing you more freedom to shoot without pulling your aim to another target. Having these settings the same as mine will definitely help to improve your aim, I guarantee it, or your money back. Moving on, I leave reload hint on, but turn the next 3 off. However, if you're suffering from high ping, you can turn the last one on. This will give you a visual sign that your ping to the server is rather high, and that you may need to compensate your aim by leading your shots. For audio, leave master volume on 100%. Why would you change it? I don't know. But drop the music right down. I do like the music, but it can interfere with other important auditory signs, and as footsteps are rather naff right now, it might be worth dropping the music right down to 15% or even lower. For me, I'm leaving it on 50%, I know, crazy right? But music is magic, and it's so bloody good, it adds just a lot of flavour, and I like it. If you have a stereo set of headphones, I would use the 3D headphones option. This is a must. It allows you to better perceive the position of sounds behind, above and below you. And finally, for audio, turn off VoIP. Yes, it can be great to speak to strangers, but I'd rather not be privy to some nerd's domestic with his mum about why he's throwing his life away playing video games, or hearing a dog barking, or just those annoying little fuckwits who scream and make annoying sounds for the sheer hell of it, or those insufferable people that play really loud house music thinking the whole world wants to hear their mixtape. We don't! Your music is awful, and I bet you smell like 3-day-old socks. So I turn this setting off. And finally, we move on to video settings. I'd have brightness between 50 and 60%. Field of view we discussed in the last video, as it's so incredibly important. I recommend 74, which gives you a 90-degree field of view. You can indeed lower it to make the targets bigger, but will lose much peripheral vision, and you can go higher and see more around you, but you will make your targets much smaller and much harder to hit. Honestly, 74 and that sweet spot of 90 degrees is perfect and will serve you very well. For the aim down sight field of view, I would suggest turning it off. This allows a little extra zoom when aiming down the sight. Next is motion blur, and for love nor money can I understand why in God's name it is in the game. Just set it to 0, no one needs motion blur, no one. The aim down sight depth of field effects I like to have off. This way I can see the sights clearly of my weapon, but again, this is personal preference. Now, if you want your HUD indicator colours to pop a little more, you can turn on custom colour settings. It's intended for use for people who are colourblind, but can really make a difference to all players. I'd say Tritanopia is a great setting, but you can customise these colours to whatever you'd like. So if you do want to customise your experience even further, have a play around. And lastly, you have the final 4 settings. I would suggest turning these off, as they add beautiful cinematic effects, but they can worsen some aspects of visual fidelity. Honestly, you don't need it on, but I'll let you decide. Now we have reached the end of my settings guide, and like the word guide denotes, it's not a steadfast set of rules that you must follow. However, if you do heed my advice, I guarantee 3 inches of growth in your first month of use, and the girls will love you for it. Oh, sorry, I do apologise, I mixed up my sales pitches there for a moment. Go forth and unleash your newly discovered settings upon the world, but please, before you do, drop a like on this video, leave a comment down below about what you found most useful, or if you have a question you'd like me to answer, and subscribe if you haven't already. For more tips, tricks, profound nonsense, and all things Battlefield 5, I'm DRBC 007, signing off.